90 years ago this month, The Mummy was released in theaters and started a series within the Universal Monster movie franchise. I decided to take the opportunity to rank all these movies from worst to best. Now, keep in mind I'm only talking about the Mummy movies made by Universal Studios, and the various Hammer Mummy movies and others like it don't count. This will also be a prelude to a much bigger video in the future where I rank every Universal Monster movie, so here goes. These are every Universal Mummy movie from worst to best. The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor is a terrible movie. It felt like a child trying to tell a story and making up as they go along. The tone of this movie was too goofy with the bad jokes, Mara Bello is no Rachel Weisz, Luke Ford is just a bad actor, and the few actors who do come back are just poorly written. Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy is the least funny of the Abbott and Costello movies I've ever seen. I'm struggling to remember any joke in this movie that made me laugh. The Mummy in this movie looks like someone wearing a cheap Halloween costume from Target while rolling around in manure. The only positive thing I'll say about it is that it featured Michael Cera, who voiced Mr. Freeze from Batman the Animated Series. The 2017 remake of The Mummy is a generic summer popcorn flick with Tom Cruise. The actor can be blamed for micromanaging this movie, but I also blame an inexperienced director and a studio that tried too hard to cash in on the cinematic universe trend. I liked the zero-gravity aircraft sequence, and Sofia Boutella as the title character of the movie was decent, but this whole movie felt like it was on autopilot for most of the time, and it was just clunky trying to place an exposition for a cinematic universe. The Mummy's Curse is the weakest and final movie in the Kaaris Mummy movies. A lot of Mummy action feels like a Benny Hill skit where the Mummy is just chasing around leading lady, who does look pretty striking in that black wig of hers. The movie does have one of the most effective kills of the Kaaris movies, and I did like the climactic inclusion of Kaaris bringing down part of a building just to kill a guy. The Mummy's Ghost is just another generic Mummy movie with a few good gems, such as John Carradine, and for the ending being a tragic one, that was rare for its time. I always liked John Carradine in the Universal Monster movies hamming up in a good way, and it was also nice to see Martha Vickers' cameo. The Mummy's Hand is a typical adventure comedy with Egypt and mummies. It does have semi-interesting characters, mainly the magician as daughter, but the comic relief at times can come off as too try-hard and more quantity than quality. This was the first and only time where they try to show Kaaris having no eyes, but it's inconsistent where you can see his eyes from time to time. The Mummy's Tomb is my favorite of the Kaaris movies. Sure, The Mummy's Hand has better characters, but this one has better pacing and action. The kills are on average more effective, and the climax is a lot better with the trope of the angry mob and a big fire defeating Kaaris at the end. I also think that Turan Bey was a better villain than Anarhab, and was not much of a stretch that he would fall for Lisa Knox's character. The Mummy Returns is a fun popcorn flick. Sure, there are plot conveniences, such as Rick being the chosen one, and Evelyn just so happened to be a descendant of the woman who just saw Imhotep and Anck-su-namun kill Seti I, and emphasizes more on action than horror, but it's a fun movie that I've always enjoyed watching. The effects are hit or miss. The Scorpion King monster is terrible, but seeing the soldier mummies come back was great, and the chase across London is always a thrill to watch. The original Mummy from 1932 is a solid horror movie. The best thing about it are its leading actors. I've always loved Boris Karloff's reserved but imposing performance, and how he acts coming back to life is great acting. Zita Johann is also good as a woman who's conflicted between her identity as Helen Grosvenor and as a princess from thousands of years ago. I also like the Egyptian setting, but the movie borrows too many elements from Dracula with Bela Lugosi. It could also be argued that they just remade the same movie but swapped a vampire for a mummy. The 1999 remake of The Mummy is an amazing movie that I absolutely love. It perfectly balances several genres including action, horror, comedy, and romance. It does use the basic plot points from the original, but it has so much fun with its new twist, and does the right thing to have its own identity. Brendan Fraser is great as a reluctant hero, and Rachel Weisz is fantastic as the smart and lovely leading lady of the movie. The CGI is aged like fine wine, the jokes still work, and it's the kind of movie that makes me feel happy with escapism. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.